Hello, welcome to Shed Lee Baptist Church, also known as Shed. I'm Tom, and I have the privilege of presenting this new episode of Everyday Disciples, which is a bit of a different and a change up for summer at Shed here. So it's great to be able to introduce our new guest this week. Not a guest, someone who's part of our family, but a guest to this show as such. And we're looking forward to it. So we'll just get straight into it. This is Dermott. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Tom.
Good.
Nice to be with you.
Yeah, it's good to be able to hear from you. And we're going to find out a bit about you, what your background is, what you're bringing to Shed, what Shed is doing for you, and how God's working in your life today. And so I'm just going to kind of just open it up to you and say, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Dermott. I'm married to Esther, and I'm originally from Aberdeen. I did my schooling here, went to Ashley Road Primary School, and then to Aberdeen Grammar School. And after I left the grammar, I went to work for a subsea company selling commercial diving equipment. And then thereafter, I ended up going to something totally different, which was retail finance. And I did that for a few years and then progressed into a different type of finance. This time it was motor finance. And I was a home-based rep working in the northeast of Scotland, financing and leasing cars and motorbikes. So I did that for quite a few years. And at the time, I was working for the Abbey National Group, as they used to be called. And they ended up closing down the company. So we all got made redundant in 2003. And so after that, I was quite fortunate in that I was taken on by another company, and I knew one of the guys from working with them previously, and we ended up working together for a year. But during that year, I was really quite unsettled, and I felt that a change was about to come. So I decided to go to university, and I quit the job, and I became a full-time student and studied for 3 years.
So what age were you then?
Back in 2004, I would have been 31.
Oh, so mature student is what they call it, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
And how did you get on with that kind of transitioning from, working to going back to studying?
I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't study straight after school, so it was a new thing to me, going into further education. But I really quite enjoyed it. It was good. One of the things that was beneficial for me, during the summertime, at the end of my first year, there was opportunities to take placements with companies, environmental placements. And so for the first placement I did a successful 8 weeks. And then at the end of my second year, in the summer holidays in the 8 weeks then, the second placement was successful again, but then the company asked me, would I like to stay on and work with them 1 day a week? So my study day was a Friday, and they kept me on maintaining their management system for that time. And then once I graduated in 2006, the company offered me a position. So it worked out really well.
Worked out well. And so I guess, when we speak about worked out well and, things happen for a reason, was God were you playing an active part in a relationship with God? Where was your sort of faith in all that? Where was your God journey?
Interestingly enough, at that time, I did believe in God.
Right.
I did pray. Occasionally went to church, probably for Christmas, New Year, weddings, that sort of thing. But I didn't really have an active faith or a relationship. I did pray about it. I felt I had a peace.
It's really interesting. You mentioned you prayed about it, but you didn't have that kind of active. So going back, did you have growing up, was there a kind of church background through family, or what made you pray?
My parents went to the Church of Scotland, probably more so my mum than my dad. And when we were kids, my sister and I, we were offered to go to Sunday school or not. And with me being quite an outdoors kid, playing football, hanging about with my friends, climbing trees, that sort of thing, I opted not to go. However, there was an influence there from mum going to church. So I guess that's one of the reasons that I always have believed in God, but I've never really had that sort of active relationship up until a later point in life.
Okay, so the later point in life, was that during uni or before uni, that kind of relationship stage or progression?
That came in 2009. It was the 3rd of January 2009 that I invited Jesus into my heart. It's one of those moments, never ever forget it. It was quite a wonderful moment. Just to give you a little bit of a picture how I came to that point, after my teenage years, incidentally when I was a kid, I always had a fascination for supernatural things. And I never knew why that was until that was revealed later on. But I had that fascination, and in my 20s I went backpacking to Southeast Asia, discovered some of the cultures, the religions and things there, dabbled a little bit in that, because I guess I was always searching. There was always that spiritual void, if you like. And when I was there, I got involved in certain things and sort of took that back with me when I came back to the UK. And so my journey progressed. But in 2008, I did the Alpha course. And at the start, the guy who hosted it, Nicky Gumbel, I wasn't quite sure about him. But as time went on, I really warmed to him, and I thought he was just such a good guy, and what he shared was really good. The Alpha course answered a lot of questions, but at the same time, started prompting more questions, and I was searching and seeking more. So that led to the point of going along to a church on the 3rd of January 2009. And I really just wanted to get in and get out. But when I went into the church, before I got in, there was a crowd of African people outside in their colourful traditional dress. And when they were speaking to the welcome team, I managed to kind of sneak in between them to get in under the radar and got into the church. I just wanted to sit there in the background in the quiet. But as I got into the church, an elderly gentleman came and spoke to me, and he offered his hand, he shook my hand, and I just thought, there's just something about this guy, just something really about him that I couldn't put my finger on it. It turned out he was a retired pastor. And I went through the service, and I really had an encounter with the Lord. During worship, I became quite overwhelmed standing there. I was trying to hold myself together, but the tears came. The Lord started to minister when we were singing Amazing Grace, a song that I knew well and most people would probably know. And then the sermon itself, it felt as if it was written for me. And that was the time when I said, an altar call came at the end. I think I was probably right down at the front first to do it. My plan had been to leave quietly, but I went down and I accepted Jesus into my heart.
Well, I mean, I can honestly say I never knew any of that, and it feels like an absolute God moment that I'm interviewing you about this, because that is so similar to my journey. And hearing that is absolutely brilliant, because I went through Alpha and I was searching and stuff. So it's just, I can relate to you in that way. The Alpha, the different weeks, and it's just, they have all the right questions, don't they, of how you can explore faith. And it's great. You'll be doing the next Alpha course at Shed. So you also mentioned Esther. So how long have you been together? Where did that all begin?
Esther and I, we first met on an online forum, a Christian forum, and we developed a friendship, and that started to progress, and we met on a neutral country, because Esther's from Germany, and she was living in Hamburg, I was in Aberdeen, so we decided we would meet in Amsterdam, which was one flight from Aberdeen to Amsterdam, one flight from Hamburg to Amsterdam. So that was kind of the start of the romance blossoming, if you like.
Awesome.
And then we had quite nice international places we would meet in between times, between Zoom calls, Skype calls and things like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we got married in 2013.
Okay. And where did you get married?
We got married, we actually had two ceremonies. We got married in Aberdeen at my mum's church at Holborn West, but we also had to do a ceremony in Germany as well, for the legal side of that, for Esther getting married. So a bit like the Queen having two birthdays, we had two weddings.
Not one day after the other, was it?
No, one was on the 9th of August, and then the following one was on the 19th of October in Hamburg.
Yeah, good. So 2 honeymoons as well, or?
No, unfortunately not, just one.
No. And then you're obviously from Aberdeen, Esther's Germany, and you've settled here, obviously. What brought you to Shed, and how long have you been coming to Shed for?
So prior to coming to Shed, we were looking for a church in the 6 months before lockdown. And during that time we'd visited a few places, but we didn't actually have what we could call a home. And then lockdown happened in March 2020, and we were left without a church. And we were watching different services online, and there's a host of available services now that we can watch. And we'd watched Shed a couple of times amongst other ones as well. And then it would have been in September last year, we decided that we would try and come along. Lockdown restrictions were eased, and whilst there was a lot of social distancing still in place with masks and 2 meters between seats, we left it as late as we could. We didn't want to take up places in case regular people wanted to come along, but we prayed about it, and it was almost as if the Lord allowed us to come along at that time. Yeah. So that was our first service, probably around about September last year. And then the second one we came to after that would have been down at Aberdeen Beach, when there was a baptismal service, which was really great to be at. It was a fantastic experience, worshipping the Lord outside together. Yeah,
and Bridget, you're based in Bridget-on, so it was close to that. So you're living in Bridget-on, aren't you? And you're working at home most of the time as well. How are you finding that?
Yes, yeah, I got quite accustomed to that during lockdown, and a lot of my work still is done from home. Yeah. Sometimes I go to client offices to visit them there, but the most of the time I'm using Microsoft Teams and working from home. Yeah. I've got quite used to it. Esther's self-employed as well, so she has her office in one part of the house and I have my own as well.
Good stuff. So shed together, home together, working, and life outside of work. Just the two of you is awesome. Good stuff. And so when since you've been coming to Shed, have you been involved in much? Have you got to know many people? Obviously, as you know, the challenges of lockdown. Obviously, you've left it until September 21, so there's maybe less restrictions. But what have you been getting up to in Shed since you came along?
So when we first came, firstly we were made very welcome, and it was lovely the way that people came and embraced us as new people, as newcomers to the church. I've also been along to some of the Thursday night events, the Shed Men, which Phil hosts, and I think have been really good. They've been great. I can't always manage due to other commitments, but the times I've come along, it's been good to get to know people there, people that I haven't even seen in church. I was able to meet them there, which was good, and also to go through the book of James together. And also recently I've just put my name forward as well to become part of Welcome. So just trying to get more involved in different aspects of church life.
Cool. Oh well, no, and you'll definitely fit in well in Shed. It's great to have you, you and Esther both, as part of the family here. And we really look forward to seeing you guys thrive and grow in the family here. So I encourage everyone to further embrace and welcome Dermott and Esther and get to know them, whether that's men on Thursday nights or Sundays or whatever else during the week. And we've got life groups that we sporadically form and change up throughout the time. So there's plenty going on, and we look forward to it. So what is there anything that we can, I can pray for you, or the church can pray for you after they watch this episode and they feel like, I'm getting to know this guy but want to pray for him? Is there anything that you want prayer for from the church? Or?
Yeah, thanks Tom, I would really appreciate that. I think firstly, prayer that we would find our place in the church. That's a very important thing to both Esther and to me. Also as well, that we would continue to hear the Lord's voice on our involvement in the healing ministry, and that we would continue to know his plans and purposes as we move forward.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, there's plenty to pray about, and we'll definitely see God working in your life and here. Let's. I'll just pray for you as we close, and it's been great to get some conversation with you and get to know you a wee bit more. So dear Lord, thank you for Dermott. Thank you for what has happened in his life and how you've worked in his life, how he's come to know you through Alpha, and pray that he will be able to share your word and witness, be a witness to you through other people, and whatever that may be in the future, Lord. So we just pray that Dermott and Esther both find their place in Shed, and just put them in touch with the right people in the right ministries, and we just pray that they grow and feel comfortable and more welcome in this place. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, thanks very much for listening. It's been great to hear from Dermott over the past few minutes, and yeah, as I said, get to know him, get to know others that we've heard from over the last few weeks, and we will have more next week, so tune in. Next Sunday morning, there'll be a new video on the link every week, and you can hear that on YouTube and our social media channels. Thank you, and have a good day.